reason the live I did with Thomas
Yes.
never showed up on LinkedIn. Like it showed up while we were live, but like I can't find it anymore.
Oh, maybe it got censored.
Yeah, maybe it got censored. The censors are out there. What's going on, Jennifer? How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
You know, life is just magical and amazing over here. Like, let's see, I'm gonna find something that you're just going to totally love.
Okay. I'll let you. I'll talk while you're. Oh, so that okay? Well, I've already. Oh, that's a great picture.
Uh-huh.
I already talked to Buddy, and next month we're gonna have a DFW No BS Tribe lunch, and we're gonna have more people.
Oh, so the second one, not the first one, the second one is gonna have more people.
Yes.
Okay. But it's not gonna be the first one, right?
No, because it's already done.
By who?
But listen, it's like your first, second book kind of thing. It's like whatever. It gets all jumbled up in the context.
But who did it first?
Whose idea was it?
Yeah. Oh, it was Tanya's idea, actually.
Exactly.
She showed
It
up.
wasn't even yours.
It was so cool because like Steve Martin was the one who first started. So chief marketeer, No BS Tribe, Steve Martin was shouting out and saying, "Hey, I'm going to be at somewhere. If anybody there, let's get together." Well, then Tanya posted a picture in Greece while she was on vacation
with the book, which was
with the book, and so I reached out to her because I was super grateful. And she's in San Antonio, so I said, "Hey, well, let's meet for lunch. Like, she's in the industry, like, why not?" And then at lunch, she's like, "Hey, why don't you have like a No BS brunch or something?" I'm like, I didn't even. Let's do it. So boom, done. Thank you, Tanya.
But we're going to do PDCA. We're going to take your idea and then we're going to look at it and reevaluate it and then make it better.
Mm-hmm. You can't make it better. You can't make the first time better.
We'll see.
You can't.
That's the process. Continuous improvement.
Yes, but you can improve the process. You can't improve the first experience.
You can't improve your experience.
Right. You cannot.
But if somebody didn't have your experience, then it could be improved.
How can you improve something you haven't had? You can't. It's the process. Good. So speaking of improving, we have a live stream tomorrow. We have
morning.
A super late
pop
up. Today was a day.
Technical difficulties earlier.
Yeah, like it would come up. It was look who caught us. Buddy Brumley says, "Dang it, he made it. What's up, buddy?"
Yeah, he caught us. He's probably been on the lookout today.
Yeah, so we had the No BS lunch here in San Antonio with Team Jess, and I was trying to live stream it, so like I was trying to be super sneaky while we were all eating lunch, and Janet was there, Kirby was there, Brian Winningham was there, and Tanya was there. So I'm like setting up my little stuff, and they're like, getting my mics out, and they're like, "Oh man, he's gonna make us do something we don't want to do." And I'm like, "It's fine, don't worry about it. Y'all keep talking." But internet problems, like I kept
like robots and janky. It was all janky. I'm like, Jesse, this isn't working.
So we had to pause it, and so here we are, doing a pop-up for our live stream with. Look at that.
I see that.
My buddies over at the Exclusive Way did me up nice and tight. Watch out, New Orleans. I'm coming, baby. And so tomorrow we're talking about, why did you pick the title of
okay, tomorrow? Let's rewind just a tiny bit. So you and I were brainstorming on the live stream. We always do that after we have the conversation, 2 weeks ago. And then we talk through about some things that have popped up, conversations, and what we need to do. And I believe that we came up with self-accountability is what we're going to talk about. And you were like, absolutely. That's great, Jennifer. I agree. I'll do the banner. And then you created the banner. And what does the banner say?
You ain't the boss of me.
So Jesse, tie that into self-accountability.
Okay. So maybe I did come up with the title. Whoever does our banners, that like just totally talented artistic flair. Like you just can't can't find that anywhere.
Yes. And pictures keep popping up that I've never seen before. It's just but I'm in.
So the idea, like you mentioned, we were talking about accountability and self-accountability, like holding ourselves accountable and some ways to make that, like to enhance that, right? Like there's one, I'm accountable to my commitments. And if I'm making commitments outside of myself, that's pretty easy, right? Because there's a reflection, there's some person there to say, wait a minute, you said. But when I'm making commitments to myself, like I got to maintain that commitment. And when I share that commitment, that target, whatever it is, the likelihood, or I'm more prone to stick to fulfilling that commitment. And so as I was like chewing on it, brainstorming, meditating on one of my yoga escapes, it just came to me. You're not the boss of me. Right? Because you can assign something to me, you can dictate something to me, but it's up to me to commit and do it.
It's your choice.
It's my choice, right? Like there are consequences. There's positive consequences and there's punitive consequences, but ultimately it's my choice.
Right.
And so that's how I came up with you're not the boss of me, because I'm going to, like, it's really taking ownership. It's kind of silly, but it's also like taking ownership of what I'm committed to doing, right? Yeah. And I think, and we'll get into it tomorrow, but this self-accountability, I hold myself to a high standard. I have very high expectations of myself to follow through on the commitments I make. A weak point, a chink in my armor, is making more commitments that I really need to make, right? Like I need to be able to say no.
Yes, we both do. That's going to probably come up tomorrow.
Yes. And I, Jen, I'm pretty sure that you and I are not the only ones that struggle with that saying no. And so I hope the conversation ends up on that side of the subject of yes, accountability and performance and integrity and all those things are like super, super important, which I think the NoBS tribe are experts at demonstrating that. But you know what we suck at? Freaking saying no.
Yes.
Right? Like we're not good at that.
Right.
And to our own detriment. And I think, a recurring theme in many of our conversations is around mental health, mental wellness, self-care, and saying no is like it's like doing burpees, man. Like it's hard and they suck, but there's a lot of good that can come from them. Yep. So yeah, like you're not the boss of me, which means I'm the boss of me. Mm-hmm. But if I'm going to be the boss of me, I better bring it. I better come correct. Right. What do you think?
Well, I mean, you and I talk about this a lot, and I think it's that self-accountability, but it's, even though it's you that has to make the decision, it's you that owns it. Like you and I talk a lot about just sharing that with someone else who can then help you as you do that. So it's still you making the decision, you choosing to do it or not, but having somebody there that's, in your corner, that's kind of there to remind you to kind of, hey, somebody to kind of lean on or somebody to nudge. Like we need those people in our lives, and not because, they're there to hold us accountable and they're there to make us feel bad, but like to just remind us of our commitments that we made.
Actually, as you're saying that, you reminded me of our sister, Miss Christy Powell.
Yes.
She made a commitment on LinkedIn to be spending some Christy time.
Yep.
And so I'm going to check on her right now.
That's a great idea.
And I'm calling her out. That's dirty, right? Calling her out on social media on the live stream. But again, because I want to help. That was my question. How can I help you? And she said, man, check on me, remind me.
Well, it's this thought process and this thinking that you and I've talked about. It's a learned behavior to want to say yes to everybody and to want to be able to do everything, for our worth, for just, value, to help people. Like we're surrounded by people that are focused on others. We just are. And those people that are focused on others, I hate to say it, also push themselves to the limit because they don't want to let someone down. They don't want to have to say no to someone, but to the detriment of themselves.
I'm gonna go a little further. I think there's some maybe ugliness mixed up in that.
Okay.
Right? There's some pride. There's some vanity.
Mm-hmm.
There's some deflection, like not wanting to deal with stuff. So I'm gonna go stay busy. I guess the best way to say it is it's complicated, right? Like it really is complicated. But if I'm going to be the boss of me, I really need to be taking care of myself and having boundaries and being able to say no. And also, like talking to Brian, I just forgot his last name, up in Phoenix.
No, Melcher.
Brian Melcher, yes. And he's like, I'm about sick of hearing freaking self-care and mental wellness. And I said, okay, like that's fair. What's going on? And he's like, well, like he's in the middle of launching a really amazing thing, right? Of providing a greater service to his clients and the industry at large. He's like, I don't have time to rest. I got to get this thing off the ground, right? There's so much stuff, when we're creating new stuff, like you never know what's coming. You just got to adjust and keep going and make it happen. And I was like, yeah, you know what? That's absolutely fair, because I think there's a reality and we landed on this idea of seasons, right? Like there's a season for creativity and building and working and that takes all of your time. Yes, you can't do that forever though. And at the end of the season, if we're not intentional and deliberate about backfilling that empty time that's going to open up, guess what's going to fill it? Right? Does that feel familiar, Jen?
Well, it does, but it reminds me also of like people that write books, like how they're in that mode and they're writing, and when they're like in crunch time or they have a deadline or they can't just go, oh, I'm taking a week because I need some self-care. Like they've got to dive in and they've got to finish that stuff to hit that deadline, and then it's like and so it's finding that balance where there's moments. I mean, it's not just, hey, here's my scheduled whatever. Like there's going to be things that impede on that. There's going to be things that, hey, there's deadlines that, because of who we are and what we do in our jobs and all those responsibilities, like that there may have to be a sacrifice in there.
Yes. And we have to give ourselves grace.
Yes.
And give ourselves and celebrate, even if you only do it for 5 minutes this week, right, buddy? If buddy can hear me. Yeah, it's a skill that we need to build. So I'm excited about what the NoBS tribe is going to bring around this conversation around self-accountability. And then I got to like pack up and shoot off to the airport right after.
Awesome.
So we'll see how that goes.
Yes.
I'm excited.
It'll be fun.
We'll
see you in the morning at 8 o'clock.
See y'all in the morning, 8 a.m. Central. Yes. Be cool. Bye.